Thinking about buying a franchise? Don't go it alone. Just like a buyer's agent in real estate, you deserve someone who's on your side every step of the way. That's where Todd Abraham, the franchise guy, comes in. Todd's consulting services are completely free to anyone looking to buy a franchise. He'll represent your interest, make sure all your questions are answered, and walk you through the entire buying process. With Todd in your corner, you'll have the best chance for success from your first call to the day you hold the keys to your new business. So before you buy a franchise, talk to someone who knows the industry inside and out and works for you. Call Todd Abraham, the franchise guy, today at 423-381-0925 for a free, no-pressure consultation. That's 423-381-0925. Your future in franchising starts here. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Franchise Marketing Systems Client Spotlight Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking with Mr. Mohan Kumar, and his franchise is right up my alley because I am an ice cream aholic. And my dream job would be a taste tester at Ben & Jerry's at their manufacturing plant. But my second favorite dream job would be a taste tester at Mohan's Oddfellows New York City ice cream shop because he's got more flavors than Ben & Jerry's does. Mohan, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you for having me, Todd. Glad to be here with you.
So a unique concept about Oddfellows New York City ice cream is it's chef-inspired ice cream, which I think is just absolutely amazing because me personally, I would say I'm a type A personality. People would say I'm OCD, because I like everything to be as perfect as possible. But to me, that's what sets brands apart. And so tell us, Mohan, what inspired you to get into the ice cream business, but then to take it to the next level where, you've got chef inspired ice cream flavors?
Sure. So just like you, I think all of us have a little bit of ice creamaholic in us, right? So we're all kind of inspired or reminded of the nostalgia of ice cream from when we were young. And that's the way I grew up. I had my neighborhood ice cream shop that we all used to go to after the baseball game or whatever on the weekends. And the way that it started was really kind of an organic story. I had a very good friend of mine, Chef Sam Mason, who became my co-founder in Oddfellows, who is a world-renowned pastry chef. And I used to go into his restaurant all the time. It was down the street from me where I lived in New York City. And we were good friends, right? So fast forward a few years, and my wife was pregnant with our twins, and this is in 2011. And as pregnant women do, they have certain cravings, right? So fried chicken was one of hers. That was at the top of the list. She really wanted coconut water to satiate her thirst. And then she wanted ice cream, but she didn't want the store-bought kind. It just wasn't cutting for her. So she wanted something a little more savory, right? Typically what you get off the grocery store shelves is very just sweet and over the top. In many cases, and to some people that's good, but to my pregnant wife at the time, not what she wanted. So having a beer with Sam, and I'm just shooting the stuff, as they say, and he says that, all right, I was telling him, here's what holiday my wife is craving these days, and he heard it, and he heard the thing about the ice cream, and then a couple of days later, he brought over a homemade pint of pretzel ice cream.
Wow.
And the holiday, needless to say, it didn't last long. It was a whole quart that he brought over, and it was gone in maybe a day and a half. And my wife's all of 100 pounds dripping wet on a normal day. And for a woman of her size to finish it off that fast is pretty inspiring, I guess, because it was her idea saying, hey, why don't you talk to Sam, and why don't we open an ice cream shop together? I was working in finance at the time, and I've always had a creative itch, and my way of doing that is being the entrepreneurial side of it. And that's how it started. It was really all her idea, and I give her the credit for it. And then the three of us got together and figured out the plan of how to do it.
So now, Mohan, just so we make sure the proper credit is due, because the old saying is happy wife, happy life, tell us your wife's name.
Holiday is my wife's name, my lovely wife, and absolutely, I live by that every minute of the day.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, and for those of you who can't see Mohar, he's smiling pretty big, so he must be doing a pretty good job. Um, but anyway, so it's very cool. So now, just tell us how many flavors of ice cream that you have. Give us an idea of some of your favorite flavors, and then we'll go from there.
Well, to date, and now we're 11 years in, we have made over 600 ice cream flavors. When we first opened, immediate acclaim, and we were putting out a new flavor every single day. And we've done everything from the weird and wacky to the tried and true classics. We've got our renditions of the classics. We make a fantastic vanilla bean. We make a fantastic cookies and cream. Obviously, our dark chocolate chunk was actually a famous chocolatier came in and said it was the best chocolate ice cream that he'd ever had.
Wow.
So very proud of that.
You're like, wait, let me get a quote from you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So my favorites, I would say, I always go to a classic, and I always have to name something that's a little more off the wall. But if I'm taking a classic, cookies and cream is always my go-to. I love the way we do it with our sweet cream base, and we don't put big chunks of Oreo cookies in there. We put the kind of like the dust and particulate of it, so it's very nuanced and balanced in every bite. And then of some of the newer flavors that I like, we have a coconut mango sticky rice flavor, which is actually a non-dairy flavor, a coconut base with a swirl of mango in it. And then we've got this kind of chewy rice, almost like a boba that goes in there. So it's got a little bit of a chew to it. Obviously, the tartness and the sweetness of the mango and the coconut. I love that. Those are my two favorites at the moment.
That is very cool. Now, so your flagship store is located where?
Yeah, we're based out of Brooklyn. That's where we started. Our flagship store would probably be our Williamsburg, Brooklyn store.
Okay. And then how many flavors on a given day do you sell in each of your stores?
We've got between 20 and 30 flavors in our shops, depending on the size. In New York City, we're obviously constrained on how big some of our shops can be. So, for example, we've got one shop with 14 flavors. And then on the other end of that spectrum, in our Tampa shop, which is huge and in an amazing location, we've got 30 flavors there.
That's cool. So now do you make, I think we talked about this on the phone, you make the ice cream yourself and then you send that out to your respective stores, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we're making all of our ice cream is made in New York City, and we distribute it to ourselves, to our stores, and then we would distribute it to our future franchisees.
That reminds me of the old hot sauce commercial, New York City.
Yeah, right.
That's great. Yeah. This is really cool because I've never heard, and like I said, I'm 56, and I mean, there's probably not much ice cream in the world today, in this country at least, that I haven't tried. And like I said, I love Ben and Jerry's because they have so many different flavors. But what inspired you to create a franchise out of Oddfellows? And by the way, for those of you who are listening, if you just can't wait, the website is oddfellowsnyc.com, which obviously is short for New York City. It's a very awesome website. But what inspired you to create a franchise out of it and want to grow it around the country?
The primary reason for it was we wanted to grow our brand. We think we know we have a unique product. We know we have a unique brand, and what we found is that the local touch and the franchisee being there and paying attention to it means so much. It's an ice cream shop. It's a community gathering place, right? And we can't necessarily be in all places at once. So for us, the model is we want to be able to control the product first and foremost, control the brand. We give you the playbook of how to open a store, the way it should look, and we can talk about that as well. But the real touch of it comes on that final step is when the franchisee is there and they're the ones putting the final touch, the local touch, like reaching out to the baseball teams locally, the little leagues and the schools that are around you. That's really what puts an ice cream shop kind of over the top. And the biggest thing for us is what very different than a lot of franchise ice cream models is we're controlling the product, which for us means consistency. And the same ice cream that we lick in Brooklyn and New York City is the same ice cream that's getting licked in Texas and Florida. And the quality is top notch, and we're not leaving it in the hands of potentially somebody who's never made ice cream before, and can, make mistakes potentially on the ratios and things like that. We want to make sure that we're keeping the quality top notch.
You know what? This is such a fun podcast. So in my mind, I'm thinking of, you've got some poor guy who's like a genius with ingredients, locked away in some freezer somewhere. Looks like the Doc on Back to the Future, and he's like screaming, "I must come up with a new flavor."
Yeah, that's Sam. That's my partner, Sam.
All right. What is your partner's name?
Sam Mason.
Sam Mason, right. And then what is his chef's background? Is just all general, or did he have a certain thing? I think you said pastries he was big on. But.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, he is a fantastic general chef. He's done it all. He's opened up his own restaurants. But his specialty and his claim to fame was when he was the pastry chef at a world-renowned restaurant called WD-50, which was in the Lower East Side of New York City, and it was one of I would say the leaders of the movement of molecular gastronomy. So he was doing stuff there that nobody had ever done. And we've done stuff at Oddfellows that nobody's ever done. Now, of course, scaling that is another issue. What we rely on is his base, his technique of making what we call our base, which is that's the formula to our success, right? Is his base, yeah.
Like, you got the homemade ice cream things, it looks like the churn, it's got the handle on there. What sort of machines or devices do y'all use to make your ice cream?
Yeah, it's way different than that now. So we've got to make them in batch sizes. It's still small batch ice cream, what we're making. We're not making, thousands and thousands of gallons at a time like a lot of the bigger brands, but we are making 100 gallons at a time, let's call it, right? And what we use what's called a continuous freezer. So it is still small batch, but it is a way more efficient way of making ice cream than some of the old-fashioned techniques that were out there. And it makes for a very consistent and much more consistent product.
Now, do y'all typically sell out of what you make, or do you have to waste any ever? Or?
Nope, we never waste ice cream. So one of our claims to fame is that we've really only had one ice cream that was a difficult sell, and that's when we made tobacco ice cream. And it was very interesting, but it tasted like you were licking a cigar, which was really cool in like small amounts, right? So that one was a little bit of a tough one, but out of the other 600 plus that we've made, we never throw it away. We always we make it and we sell it, and that's the way it works.
Well, what you need is on your website, you need a page called the Hall of Shame, and all the flavors like that when you come up with, you put a little story and a picture of it up there. That would be cool,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely have some weird ones that will go up on there. That's for sure. I wouldn't call them Hall of Shame. That was the only probably shame one, but it's like, there's definitely some wacky ones we've done in the past where, a lot of people, 1 out of 100 will come in and be like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
99 out of 100 will rather want their passionberry sugar cookie or their cookies and cream or their vanilla with a little bit of chocolate syrup on it.
Yeah, I think you definitely need a mafia flavored ice cream for sure, man, since it's New York City. I mean, come on.
I mean, not only that, I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, so that would be 2 reasons to do it.
I didn't know that Youngstown, Ohio was a big mafia town, but okay.
Yeah.
So now, how long have you been a franchise? And I think we were just talking right before we started recording. You've already got 5 corporate locations, but then you've got 2 franchisees who have already bought, and you're getting those locations ready to open. Where will those be located?
Yes. So we started franchising at the end of 2023, so we're not even a year in. We have sold 2 franchises. The first one is going to open up in a suburb of Houston called the Woodlands. And the second one is in the new Tampa area, North Tampa.
That's cool. That's a good diversity there. So when somebody buys into the franchise, what's the franchise fee, the monthly royalty, and then what sort of I always like to talk about the minimum investment because it ranges. Even for like the same franchise, it could be depending on what level they want to buy into. So give us some of those numbers, if you will.
Sure. Yeah. Our franchise fee is $30,000. Our royalty is 6%. We are not charging a marketing or advertising fee. It's my way of building trust with our first franchises. And I think it's way more important that we tell our franchisees to do the local advertising yourself. Like I said, an ice cream shop is all about the community. So our initial startup cost, total range, right? So I've got, in our FDD, we have a specific amount, a range of 200 and some thousand to 600,000. There's so many variables that happen with like an ice cream shop or any other food and beverage concept. Are you getting a second generation space that previously was a cafe or an ice cream shop will bring the cost down? Can we do like a kiosk model in a mall? Will that bring the cost down? Absolutely. So we've got a range of, let's call it 250 to 600,000. And I think it's appropriate for a franchise to figure out what they're going to spend based on their location and how much ice cream we believe we can sell.
That's cool. And then, so they can do it as a kiosk in a mall?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's discussing our product. It is a very high-end, unique craft ice cream. So it's not just any mall that it's going to go into. It's got to be a mall that has high-income spenders or upper middle class, let's call it, spenders. So yeah, absolutely. We're very particular on the type of real estate that we're going into. That's my background. That's kind of what I enjoy doing, is helping franchisees find the right location. Having done this now for 11 years, I've learned a lot. I've made my mistakes, and I know now where an ice cream shop will be successful. And to be honest, it's pretty obvious, right? The location. Everyone's had ice cream in their life, and they know where they go for it, and they know where the lines are, right? And that formula has not changed at all. So if you're in a mall, that's a captive audience. People are out having a good time, shopping, eating. They want ice cream there. Absolutely. Especially outdoor malls, right? Yeah. And then you've got the one-offs, some out parcels that can work, and a kiosk like in a mall or on a walking path. Like, there's a lot of great inner city walkways like the Beltline in Atlanta that have kiosks, and ice cream would absolutely make a lot of sense in those types of places too.
Yeah, especially if you're an employee there on a 100-degree summer day where the humidity is 95%,
Yeah, better
it's like, quit eating all the profits, pal.
Yeah.
Your paycheck is going away. No, that's funny. But I think, touching on the kiosk thing, I think a kiosk in a lot of senses in a mall is more effective, especially for this kind of a model, because everybody sees the kiosk go in either direction, or any of the four directions that they could go, depending on what the location of the kiosk. Whereas, and again, I'm just thinking very technical here. Somebody's walking through the mall, they're not always going to look always to the left and always to the right, but they're going to see that kiosk in the middle of the walkway there. So,
yeah. What really breeds success in ice cream too is the smell of our fresh waffle cones. People will automatically get attracted to that. And that's kind of one of the things we focus on, is all five senses in an Oddfellows location. Just like you have the Antions or the Cinnabon smell that you have, we do the same type of thing, right? And then
or the coffee smell.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing people walk around with ice cream will automatically get their attention.
Yeah. And like I said, if we mention the website again, oddfellowsnyc.com, you should definitely check that out for two reasons. One, because the design of it, which we'll talk about here in a minute, is really good. But I think you mentioned you're getting ready to launch a new design. But also on that website, there is a link for franchising, all the information there about buying a franchise with Oddfellows New York City Ice Cream. And that, which made me think, Mohart, that would be a good flavor, franchising.
Of which one?
For the ice cream. What's this flavor? It's called franchising.
Yeah, well, I would like to think we can make it out of gold-covered chocolate coins.
Yeah, or maybe put a little green in there for money, I mean, heck yeah, man. That'd be great. All right, so you have a new website coming. Do you have any idea when that's going to be launched?
Yeah, we should have a new website up within the next 30 days, so let's call it by the end of September, middle of September.
That's good timing for the holidays, right?
Yeah, let people get out of the summer and the dog days, and then we'll we'll have a new site launched quickly thereafter.
Now, that always brings up a good question. I always ask this question. When franchisees buy in with you, as far as the website goes, will they at locations be added to your primary site?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we treat franchisees as if it's one of our own shops. We have to. That's kind of the community that we like to build, and that's the community that we want them to portray to their guests as well. So absolutely, this is Oddfellows Ice Cream, one big umbrella, and we will absolutely show all franchisees on there.
One big sweet umbrella.
You bet. Not too sweet though. That's the key.
That's right. That's right. Not too sweet. All right. So when someone becomes a franchisee with you, and a lot of the food type franchises, it's almost a requirement that they go to the location of the home base to train. But with you, that's not necessarily the case, right? Because they're going to be buying their ice cream from you. So will they come to your location, or will
we still like them to come to our location? We actually do all of our training in our Tampa, Florida location.
Okay.
Because it's more set up for the way that we want the model to look. New York City, obviously, we have real estate there is at a premium, right? So our shops are very small, not the typical layout that we're going to roll out, like in, say, the Sun Belt and in other locations in Florida and Texas. So we definitely want folks to come to our shop. They need to understand the vibe, the atmosphere, how we do things. It's better to see it in person at a shop. And then we will come to the franchise to get them open and train them as well.
That's cool. Now, here's a good question. Is it something that can be done via a food truck?
Yeah, we've thought about that. We haven't put that into our FDD yet, but absolutely it can be. There are a lot more things we have to consider when we do a food truck, right? How many days are they going to be open? Where are they going to be parking it? All sorts of things. But ice cream and a food truck go hand in hand. So if this person wanted to potentially open an Oddfellows franchise with a truck, we would totally consider it and just make sure we do it right.
Yeah, that would be a neat idea for sure. Well, I tell you one person, you can call my sister Stephanie in Philadelphia and see if she can find you a buyer there for the Mall of America, because that would be a great location for sure.
I bet. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Stephanie,
all right.
listening.
Yeah. So, what kind of, once they become a franchisee, they go through the disclosure process, pay the necessary money at front, start, get their location, all that. What's the typical turnaround time from start to finish before they can actually open their store and begin to, start making some money?
Sure. And of course, that also depends on a bunch of different factors, right? You have to deal with the landlords, and signing the lease is step one, and then getting the permits to open it, right? So I'll use an example of what we're doing in one of the franchise locations that we've sold now, where the location was a juice concept before. So we were able to, just because we've done this so many times, we're being very smart about using the existing plumbing and electric that's there. We're also really quick with turning around plans. I'm designing all the shops with the franchisee, but it's really my expertise that they're leaning on to get the shops designed. So, the design and the layout, depending on the architect, takes about 4 to 6 weeks. Then you got to wait for your permits, and every jurisdiction and every city is different. So that takes another 4 to 6 weeks. So let's call it we're at between 2 to 3 months you're in until you can start building the shop. But a shop should not take more than 2 to 3 months from start to completion. And this shop, again, that we're doing with the first franchise was a juice bar, like I said before. We're anticipating construction of that to not take longer than 4 weeks.
That's cool.
So best case scenario is you can open up in 1 to 2 months if you're lucky with the location you get. I would say the more realistic is 3 to 5 months, and then the worst case scenario is like 6 or 7 or 8 months.
Right. That's cool. All right. So let's talk about, I think we've covered everything as far as the franchise opportunity goes. Now let's get to the other side of the sweet part of franchising your ice cream business, and that is your interaction with franchise marketing systems. Tell us how you came to find out about them, and how's your experience been with them?
Yeah, and I think the first thing that I always tell people about FMS is when I was looking to franchise, I talked to a handful of different franchise companies. And the thing that stood out to me about FMS was Chris Conner and the way that he was just a genuinely nice person. And most other franchise companies that I talked to always had something negative to say about this, that, or whomever. Chris never once spoke negative about it. And he always told me kind of direct, like, this isn't going to be a get rich quick scheme, which I never wanted it to be or never really believed it could be or should
Right.
be. He says, you're going to have to work, and he kind of just shot it straight. And so that was the thing that really attracted me to working with FMS. And then I just so happened to have a good friend that also worked with FMS, Raphael with Kawa Coffee, based in St. Pete in Florida. And I'm talking with him, and he says, well, let me introduce you to my guys that I'm working with. And it just so happened to be FMS. I said, oh, I'm already talking to them. And he's like, well, I've got a great sales guy that you should talk to too. He's selling our stuff, and his name is Nick. And I spoke to Nick. We hit it off, and they really understand the brand, and I'm excited. And they've done a great job getting these first two for us closed. And I hope to do a few more in 2025. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and as a franchisor myself, with FMS, that is one of the things I love about the company. They're wholesome. They're very positive. And they are such good communicators, and they're so fluid in their process. And one of the favorite things that I heard from anyone I've interviewed, because it describes me and so many others like yourself coming into the franchise world, is I didn't know what I didn't know. And FMS, they will answer every one of those questions for you as though the question had never been posed before. And they won't stop until they make sure that you're satisfied with the answer that's given. And that they do so much for you, with, the FDD, the franchise disclosure document, the LLC, the operations manual, which I thought was just fantastic. The franchise information website, which I'm sure you worked with them to help create yours, because they do that based on the franchisor's standards as well as their own marketing team to come up with the perfect fit. And then, once they get everything done, then they help you sell your franchises. I mean, and then
that was the other thing that really attracted me to them, is that they're A to Z, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to piecemeal it and have to hire this, that, a lawyer, this and that, and all of them together, or just all of them together in one place makes it so much smoother to get up and running.
Yeah, it'd be like if you're building a house and like you said, you go hire a contractor to do the foundation, you go hire a contractor to do the framing, blah, 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 blah. Or do you go hire this awesome contractor who can take care of every bit of it for you and take the hassle out of it? And then again, if all that wasn't enough, now here we are on the client, franchise marketing client spotlight podcast. And that's just extra publicity and promotion to help, get the word out about your awesome franchise. So truly a great company. Well, Mark, tell us something fun about you that, you think people would just like to know, just for good old fun's sake.
Well, I'll probably speak to how we kind of came up with the name Oddfellows, which it kind of fit how Sam and I worked together, right? It was a Google search gone right. What we plugged in, when we started the conversation with my wife, myself, and Sam, we knew that it was going to be a carnival theme, and we knew we were going to have super inventive flavors, right? So what we did was we typed in carnival, odd, inventive, wacky, all these adjectives that we knew what we wanted the brand to be. And the name Oddfellows popped up on the screen, and we were like, that describes us perfectly. That's exactly it, because we've got this super, I'm going to speak about Sam, my partner, very handsome, hipster, tattoos all over pastry chef. And then you've got myself, who at the time I'm working in finance. I actually DJ'd at night, on the weekends, and the two of us coming together, forming a friendship and then forming a business relationship, along with the types of flavors and the type of atmosphere that we were creating, Oddfellows just fit. So I think that's the story that I like to tell people about myself and how this business kind of became what it is the two odd fellows kind of coming together and creating something special.
That is really cool. And two, I just thought it'd be really cool if you played like 50s type music in there, like Frank Sinatra, because for some reason that kind of music seems like it would go so good with the name and the theme.
Yeah, the old timey appeal. Absolutely. We
Yeah,
love it.
absolutely. My son is 22 and he loves that kind of music, and I think it's just totally cool. So again, we're talking with Mohar. Did I say your name right? Mohan Kumar. There we go. I knew I'd get it right in a minute. From Oddfellows New York City Ice Cream, a sweet franchise opportunity, chef inspired ice cream flavors. And the beautiful part about it, like you said, is that when someone buys a franchise with you, they don't have to worry about becoming an ice cream scientist, because you guys are going to supply them with all of the ice cream. So that's really cool. So you are, as I said earlier, you're listening to the Franchise Marketing Systems Client Spotlight podcast. If you're interested in buying a franchise with Oddfellows NYC, like I said, go to their website, oddfellowsnyc.com. There's a link there for franchising, and know the ice cream cone in that picture, that is not the flavor. And if you wanted to get in touch with Mohan, by all means, you can contact me. I'm Todd Abraham. I'm a franchise consultant with Franchise Marketing Systems, and we can get you in touch with him to answer any questions that you have. And if you are a company, a business owner who's looking to create a franchise out of your business, by all means, consider Franchise Marketing Systems. In my humble opinion, and based on all of the research that I've done, they are the best company in America to create a franchise for you, as well as in Canada. And any parting thoughts or comments you'd like to make, Mohan, before we sign off today?
No, I just want to thank you for giving me the time, giving me the forum, and being so thoughtful about it. I appreciate it, Todd.
Yes, sir. This has been one of the funnest ones I've got to do so far, because like I said, I am an ice creamaholic. But there is no such thing as Ice Creamaholics Anonymous. So
you don't need that. No.
So I don't have to get weaned off of it. But you are listening to franchiseradio.net. If you're interested in buying a franchise with Mohan, give us a call, 423-381-0925, and we will get you in touch with him. And again, as we close, if you are a business owner looking to franchise your business, contact me, 423-381-0925. Mohan, thank you very much, and good night to everybody who's listening.
Thank you.